Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Layla, the Lenormand Reader. And today, folks, let's do another pick a card reading. This reading, I am focusing on love. I want to focus specifically on single people for new prospects for love. If you are not single, and you still feel like you want to tune into this reading, then the way I would look at it is in terms of a new chapter in your relationship or any helpful advice that you can pick up so that your relationship can deepen or, you can spark that light into it again. So I've got 5 different groups here, each group belonging to one of these stones. I've got the Brandberg stone, I've got the Serpentine, and Lapis, as well as Opalite, and finally Carnelian. So go ahead, folks, and pause the video if you need to tune into any of these stones. And you will find each stone linked to a timestamp in the description box, and I will see you in that reading. All right, Brandberg group, here we are with your stone and the shuffled deck of mind. And for your reading, I want to do a medium-sized diamond. I can deal out the diamond right away. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, Brandberg group, I have to say this is quite an interesting set of cards. We see the ring right at the top. We see the child right on the right. And so you're probably in for a new relationship, but you know what? When I tie in the ring and coffin and the snake and child, yes, the corner cards of the diamond, I have to really put that into question because the ring and coffin points to the end of a relationship and the snake and child definitely advises caution as you move forward into a new relationship. The thing about the book in the center of the diamond is that the matter can still be unrevealed, unknown. So even though the child comes on the other side of the book, I really think that it could be a while before you meet this new person. In the very least, for a while, Brandberg people, we are waiting for the right time to move into a new relationship. So I would say with the book and coffin and with the snake and book, I would say a bit more patience is in order before you explore new prospects. So let's go ahead and weave the lines. Snake, book, and child. So like we just mentioned, the snake and book is definitely something unrevealed. It can even be a secret. And it could also be the idea that you want to keep to yourself and stay quiet. And with the child on the other side of the book, it does mean that there is a new beginning at hand, but it could be early or you might not even anticipate that there is a new beginning. Maybe you're not able to conceive that you could be in a relationship soon enough. But I would still say that the snake and book definitely advises patience. The ring, book, and coffin is similar. In the context of this reading, the ring and child have a similar indication, right? Because we are asking about a new relationship. And so both of these cards would answer that quite appropriately. But we also have both of these lines with similar structures. So we have the book and coffin here, which also points to a closed book. The idea that matters are not yet revealed. The ring and book, interestingly enough, is a combination of a proposal. So this can be a combination of commitment, but because of the coffin, it may not be time. So both the row, the central row and the central column have a similar idea that a new relationship is possible, but it could be a while or things are not yet, formed for it to materialize. So things are in the making and be patient. The square cards, interesting. We have the road, bear, ship, and flowers. So this is, I think, in pretty much contrast with the central cross of the diamond. They're a lot more active and a lot more bubbly and out there than the central cross, mainly because of the book, but also because of the snake and coffin. The road and bear can point to an important new path, and the ship and flowers and the road can bring up this idea of going back into play. So when it comes to your love life, it's like there's a renewal in your love life. You're back in the game. You're back looking for someone. You know, you're willing to be out there and to meet that person. At the very least, the energy is there. So I think this is what's in the making. And so the way I would put these apparently contradicting indications together for you, Brandberg people, is that you want to wait until you really feel you want to go back into the game. So if you're not feeling ready for a new relationship, then just honor that and spend time, you know, on your own, contemplating life and appreciating yourself and your accomplishments in life. And then when you're ready, you're gonna be able to go back into play. Now, the thing is that we add the book into these diagonals here, so it's gonna change the dynamics a little bit, right? We have the road, book, and ship. This is another indication, like the central column, the central cross. The road and book is like a path yet unknown. And then the ship on the other side of the book is like there's this new opportunity that pops up. So again, these messages are repeating themselves over and over in your diamond. Pretty clear to me that they should be on the ball. Flowers, book, and bear. Again, you know, the idea that there's an important revelation at some point. You know, the bear can be a big deal. So this can be an important new relationship that comes up next for you. But again, you know, because of the book that figures in these diagonals, we're getting similar indications that, you know, things are still in the making. It is not yet time. The book is generally closed and unrevealed. And so there could be something in the making, something will come up, but it's a matter of time. And for the time being, you sort of want to let it form. And when you're ready to go back into the game, to go back into play, then you will know and you will attract that relationship. I'm very sure. The seeds are already being sown, right? So we have the ring and the child, and they are in pretty strategic locations on the diamond. This is the future-most part. These are the intentions. So I do think that the seeds are being sown for this, and it's a matter of time before you find a new relationship. Let's bring in the sides of the diamond before we wrap up. We have the ring, bear, and child. Here you go. A very clear confirmation of an important new relationship. But then again, the coffin, ship, and child, I feel like reading it this way. You know, it's going to be a while again before you find this new relationship. So the coffin is at the very bottom of your diamond. So the very bottom card of the medium diamond, according to my interpretation anyway, is what manifests. You know, so what comes down is what manifests. So the coffin suggests that nothing is manifesting yet. The child being on the right, which is a future-most part of the reading, can suggest that it's in the making. So again, we're seeing these energies coming up together for you, Brandberg group. There is potential for a new relationship. It's just maybe not the right time. You spend the time sowing the seeds. Maybe that means becoming clear about what you want in a relationship, you know, like clarifying your intention. It's always good to do that because that's also what attracts, right? And then the coffin, flowers, and snake. And this is curious. So this can be a bit of a tricky combination. The flowers and snake, I typically take to mean a charmer. You know, the type of person who's even false to your face, you know, gives you shallow compliments and things like that. Now, the coffin here can suggest that you avoid such people in your next relationship. But again, it can bring up the same indication that we've been seeing over and over. The snake in this case, you know, is about being calm and roundabout and also diplomatic and kind. And, you know, the coffin is, again, this card of patience. So together, we're seeing it's going to be a bit of a, maybe a bit of a detour, a bit of time before you go back into play. And then the snake, rider, and ring is another suggestion that you're in for a relationship. In this triplet here, the ring is on the other side of the road. So it's like what is coming up on the path ahead of you is a relationship. And then the snake is, again, that tricky card that is a bit of a roundabout approach to things. So overall, Brandberg group, the diamond is pretty clear. There is a clear indication that a relationship is in your cards, literally in your path. It's in the making. It's still not really time for it, so you want to allow things to form a little bit more. In the meantime, you know, think about what you want, think about yourself as well, and just be patient, you know, for your story to unfold a little bit, for the right time to come when you feel that you can re-engage in these ways. So I would say a nice, easy diamond, pretty clear, nice ideas, calm, centered, all of that. Let me know how you like this reading, Brandberg. And until we meet again, thank you so much for watching and take very good care of yourself. Hello, Serpentine group. Here we are with your reading, and I've got your stone with us and the deck. The deck is shuffled. For your reading, Serpentine, we are doing a large hourglass. And again, we are looking at your prospects for a new love. And if you're already in a relationship, think about what insights and advice you can draw from this reading for your relationship. Let's go ahead and deal out your hourglass. Okay, Serpentine group, I have to say this is quite an interesting set of cards. There's a lot going on here. There's definitely pretty loaded top line here. There's a very clear center line, and the person card comes through. So let's go right ahead into your hourglass. The child, bear, and bird. That's definitely an important relationship, an important new beginning. So we see that there is a prospect for a new relationship. I'm a bit worried about the bird here. The bird tends to be an anxious kind of card. It's not really settled. It's a little bit all over the place. And when I'm looking at the mini portrait around the bird, I feel that you could move into a new relationship, but it doesn't really last. So it could be like you get off on the wrong foot and you sort of struggle moving forward, or you feel it's not really aligned and it's not going to work for the long term. So I think this is the scenario that could be playing out for you. The top line is pretty challenging here. It would be challenging in most contexts. The scythe, clouds, and coffin is a pretty aggressive ending. And, you know, the idea of the clouds here in the middle, what I'm seeing is that you get stuck trying to get out of it. And the tower here is the card of the long term, the past, or also the long term forward. So any direction really, past or future. And so in the context here, I feel that you could be stuck with this for some time. That's if we're looking at this new relationship that doesn't really work out for the long term. Another way to look at the top line, I feel, is a past relationship that is sort of hanging on your situation here. So these three cards are the breakup cards, and then the tower is the past card. So it's pretty clear to me that it was a tough breakup here. And maybe it's been a while, but it could still be, you know, it could still be weighing on you. And so I have to wonder if the issue is this past chapter. And maybe that's in the way of you moving into a new relationship. Because I feel that another way that this line can be read in light of this interpretation of the top line is specifically the bird that, you know, you're not able to really, you know, be lighthearted about moving into a new relationship. I feel that it could still be an issue and you think about it and, you know, it worries you. It's something that keeps you up a little bit. And so this can be in the way of you finding a new relationship. But I'm really liking what I'm seeing in the bottom line. So the clover is a very bright card and it goes far, you know, so when it lands in a spread, it has a way of brightening the whole thing. And so it can lighten up some of the heavier cards above. The stork and clover is definitely a lucky turn of events. And then the woman and road indicates a happy path ahead. So this is pretty neutral here. It's really the clover that brings up this brightness and this excitement. With the stork, it can be really exciting. So this is another indication, especially with the road, that a new prospect is ahead for you. Okay? So do get over the past and the past disappointment. Let go of that. See if you can let go of that. Because there are new prospects for you. You have potential for a new relationship. And I think you might want to try and free yourself a little bit for this. You know, sort of like let go of this heaviness here and see if you can be a bit more lighthearted as you welcome a new relationship in your life. Now, if you're not wanting a relationship, though I think you probably do because you're here, then I think you might want to work on the release and the relief. You know, the idea of giving yourself room to just explore, okay? And the thing about the road being on the right-hand side of the line is that we're not really seeing a committed new relationship just yet. We're seeing the idea of exploring opportunities, exploring options, and, you know, exploring your love life again, I would say. The thing about the road is that in love, it is not really committed. It tends to be a bit flighty, you know, not really settled. And sometimes this can be challenging for someone who wants commitment in love. But in the context of your reading, I think it can be relieving. So the idea of, you know, just giving yourself room to explore people, to, you know, think about, you know, what kind of relationships you want to be in next, you know, and really just letting go of this heaviness that's at the top here, this past chapter that seems to be weighing you down, you know. And like I said, this mini portrait is not really committed. So in a way, maybe it's a good thing, you know, but it's also good to manage your expectations. So the next relationship might not necessarily be that one relationship you commit to in this important way, or even for a longer phase of time. So let's get into these mini portraits. The one on the left is the child. So obviously this is the new beginning. And the scythe, child, and clover can mean that someone pops up like out of the blue. You know, maybe you're not expecting a relationship and then there's a new opportunity. And I would say something similar comes through the stork and child. It's just because the scythe and stork, they have this strong energy, you know, that shakes things up. You know, it's very active. So it's like this new beginning pops up. It happens, you know, just like that. So it can be exciting, and certainly the clover is lovely. The clouds here can mean it's a bit tricky at first, and so, you know, this could maybe lead you to the conclusion that, you know, this might not be for the long term. The scythe and stork is about the sudden opportunity. The clouds and clover is good advice for getting negativity out of your mind. So again, I feel that there could be a past chapter or a past situation that's somewhat weighing on you. And I think really the work is releasing that. Honestly, I think the work is releasing this, and it's not so much about finding a new relationship. You want to release this before you're in a new relationship. Why do you want to carry this with you into a new one? See if you can let it go. The bear in the central mini portrait, the bear is about everything big, important. And the clouds, bear, and woman can mean some, I have to put it out there, Serpentine, possibly some competition. Or maybe there's an ex-girlfriend somewhere. Or maybe, you know, someone is in your way of that sense of freedom and relief that you're looking for. So there's a bit of a locking horns here with this person, but you know, it doesn't really last too long. The coffin and woman can mean that this is a relationship that you need to end in one way or another. You know, whether she is the ex or she is someone else in your life who's sort of in your way, you know, in your face type of thing. And like we said, the clover and clouds is about, you know, releasing negativity and negative thoughts. The right mini portrait, the bird in the middle here. The bird is quite an exciting card because it's about speaking, conversations, you know, it's very bubbly, it's a bit chatty, but when it comes to love, it's a little bit anxious. So it's not an ideal card for a committed love, you know, for deep feelings. It's really a bit all over the place. It's anxious, maybe some doubts, maybe a bit of nitpicking and things like that, you know, it's possible. But I think what is also coming into play through the bird is that you're not feeling it. You know, you're not feeling it. You're not feeling either that you want a new committed relationship or that this new relationship that you are into all of a sudden is it, you know. So the bird can sort of make you feel a little bit uneasy in this context. And I think you might feel like you're not sure, basically, you know. So the coffin, bird, and road, I think you're going to be pretty clear about the idea that this is not really going to last very long, or that you want it to even go anywhere. And then the woman, bird and tower is also doubting like the longer term future. If this ties into the woman, you know, it might be someone you need to clarify things with, but I also think that this is someone you need to release. So I feel that in this context, she could be someone else. One person she can be is this competition thing that we suggested is possible. But again, Serpentine people, I don't think that your next relationship is a relationship that feels like you want to be in it for a long time. So this might be, in the big picture of things, this might be a bit of a bump in the road until your next prospect, you know? But I think that the work is release. I really feel that this top line here, it is so loud and clear. You know, the cards are so crisp in what they're communicating to us that I feel that this could be the work, and I think it can prove to be really rewarding. So work on releasing any past issues, any obstacles, blockages that you're still carrying with you. And you know what, just forget a little bit about finding the ideal person just yet. Just work on releasing this past episode and give yourself room to just explore, okay? And so just manage your expectations about the next relationship. I think it's going to be more beneficial if you think of your release and relief first. So let me know how you like these ideas, Serpentine group. I'm really looking forward to your thoughts and your comments. Very best of luck in the next phase for your love life. Let me know how it plays out. And until we meet again, thank you so much for watching and take very good care of yourself. Hello Lapis Group, here we are with your reading. I've got the deck, it is shuffled, and your lovely stone. And for your reading, we are doing a double line of 5. So remember, we are looking at love and prospects for a new love. And if you're already in a relationship, then you might like to think about what you can do for deepening the relationship or to maybe resolve an issue that you're currently experiencing. So let's go ahead and deal out your double line of 5. Okay, Lapis Group. I am definitely seeing a new relationship. I mean, it's going to be hard not to see one when you have such clear cards in the earlier part of the reading. But then I'm a bit concerned about the fox and house and then the fox and cloud. So I think there is a possibility, Lapis, that you meet someone, but they turn out to be a bit of a disappointment, maybe a bit of a trap. So let's read your lines. The child, dog, key, clouds, and fox. Child, dog, key is definitely a new friendship and a good one. The key is a really positive card. It's about success in love. It's great. You know, it can even point to someone who's meant to be. But then the clouds and fox is a bit tricky. So because they're on the right-hand side of the lines, I'm concerned that it turns out not to be so, you know, not to be as fulfilling as you had hoped. But, you know, I want to put this thought on hold and examine the bottom row because there are plenty of positive cards in here. So it's going to be dependent on how we weave everything together. The ring, garden, book, heart, and house. I mean, you know, these cards are so clear. You know, this is how Lenormand speaks. You know, it's really, really clear. The ring and garden has to do with a relationship. It has to do also with dating and meeting people. So you might want to make an effort to go out and be with people. And then the book and heart and house can point to a new relationship or a new love. And the thing about the house, it can be, as well as the garden actually, is that they're both cards of place and spaces. And so it's possible that you might need to be in places that you don't normally go to or try different groups of people where you can meet someone whom you can get along with. The line is also a little bit beyond that. So the line can also very clearly confirm that you actually meet someone. Yes, the book is in the center of the line, and the book tends to be about secrets and things that are not yet revealed. But, you know, there is the heart and house on the other side of the book, so there could be some feelings here. Now, normally the heart and book would mean that someone has feelings for you and they haven't revealed them. Now that's interesting. Why? Because in the top line we have the clouds and fox. The fox would be a secretive card. The fox would be someone who is not being transparent. Now, usually this is negative, but if the balance of the cards is actually positive, then it could be that you already met someone who has feelings for you, but who isn't telling you. And so in the next phase, it's going to be about bringing that out into the open. So these are some really pretty cards for a new relationship. And they have a quiet feel to them. So there are things in the making. Let's read the columns because I think the columns are going to be interesting as well. We have the child and ring. It's like new relationship. Child and dog, new friendship. Okay, that's clear. Dog and garden. This is where I'm seeing the idea of socializing, meeting people, you know, a mix and mingle type of thing. The dog and garden is about people in a community. It's not a close card like the ring. You know, the dog is more casual. So this can be about friendship. So it's pretty clear to me that if you want to meet someone, you're going to have to be out there and meeting people. And then you will meet someone. The key and book is lovely. It has to do with opening up potential. The clouds and heart points to thinking about love, possibly unrequited love. And this is where I was initially concerned about this part of the reading. And then we have the fox and house. The fox and house is tricky. I mean, this can be a character who sort of is not transparent. So this could be someone who's playing you. And, you know, maybe they're playing hard to get, or maybe you're playing hard to get. Hey, I've got to put that out there too. But to say that you don't have prospects for a new relationship, no, the cards are really clear. There are prospects for a new relationship. It's just that once it's out there and there is that person, you know, the interest is revealed through the key and book, it's a bit tricky. You know, it's like maybe it's like we're not sure if we want a relationship. We're sort of going around it a little bit. And it's also possible that we're playing hard to get. You know, all of these are possible. Let's weave the diagonals. The child, garden, key, heart, fox. Okay, that's pretty clear. You know, new a relationship, basically. You know, the idea of a garden here is about, you know, being in a new place that basically opens up the door for a new relationship. But again, the fox and heart is tricky. The heart and clouds is tricky. The clouds and fox also tricky. The fox and heart specifically is about someone who doesn't have deep feelings. So it's possible that at least over the first phase of this relationship, you know, we're still making up our minds, and maybe you're not feeling it 100% or they're not feeling it 100%. But I think within the bounds of this reading here, these cards, for the next phase, it's not really resolved. So it's not clear to me from here if this thing ends up being resolved. You know, it stops, the story stops at the idea of there being some question marks and not being too sure. So there is a new relationship, but there's also a bit of mystery around how good this relationship has, how much potential this relationship has. And then the ring, dog, and book, and then clouds and house. So ring, dog, and book is nice because the ring and dog points to a deep relationship growing out of a friendship. And then the book and clouds, again, is this idea of not revealing things, you know, being a bit in the dark or having some doubts. And then there's the house. So this can be, again, this context or this environment where this is all happening. So what could also be happening for you, Lapis Group, is that you seem to already be in an environment where there is someone, and there are feelings there with this person. And so the idea is, you know, if it can work out. But there is a new relationship definitely in your cards. There's an unlocking of potential. It's just these cards are a bit tricky and they sort of close off the line. So we can't really tell from these cards how far the relationship goes, but definitely there's potential for a new one for you. So definitely explore that. And then if you're having doubts, just sort of be a little bit calm about it. You know, give it a bit of time. The fox is really clever and diplomatic. So don't mess up a good thing, right? It's not because you have a few doubts or you feel that they have a few doubts that you need to, you know, be reactive and defensive about anything. You know, just chill. Let it unfold. There seems to be a lot of strength to this relationship, lots of relationship cards, you know, figuring in the reading. So let's be patient with it for it to unfold, and then, you know, give it a bit of time before you pass a final judgment, let's say, on whether this relationship does have genuine potential or not. So I would say a really interesting reading, Lapis Group. I really like how the cards turned out, and, you know, it's always a unique story every time from just this simple deck. Let me know how you like these ideas. I'm really looking forward to your thoughts. And until we meet again, thank you so much for watching and take very good care of yourself. All right, Opalite Group, here we are with your reading and with your beautiful stone nearby. And for your reading, I want to do a 9-card portrait. And of course, my deck is shuffled between readings. And remember, we are looking at the prospects for a new love. And if you're already in a relationship and you want to tap into this reading, then you might want to pick up any advice or supportive ideas to deepen your connection. So let's go ahead and deal out your portrait. All right, here we are with your cards. Notice that we have the beautiful ring right at the outset of your portrait. We do have the challenging whip at the bottom, but this beautiful line here contains a clover. So I really feel that there's lots of good prospects for you for a relationship. So let's go ahead and weave these cards together. We have the ring, tree, and mountain. A relationship is in store because of the ring, obviously, and a lot of other positive combinations we're going to see it in. But in this first diagonal with the tree and mountain, I feel it's time to slow down. So if you do meet someone, or if you're already in a relationship, you might want to take your time to develop the relationship a little bit more. And also, if you're not in a relationship, then it might be a bit of time before you meet someone. The thing about the tree and the mountain is that they can be pretty solitary cards. So I have to wonder if this isn't about, you know, you going within, just clarifying your intentions and being with yourself more. Remember that the most important relationship in life is the relationship you have with yourself. So the better this relationship is, the better your relationship with others will be. The house, tree, and clover is lovely. The house is all about intimacy when it comes to relationships. So we could look forward to a relationship materializing for you. But again, we have the tree in the center here. So it's important that you take your time and that you get to know the other person. I think with the house, it's also important. And actually with the tree, both of them, they suggest that establishing the right foundation is key here. And certainly with the clover, it would deliver the relationship that you want. So it's really setting the right foundations that can help you build on it in a way that will grow the relationship in a wonderful way. So I think this is important. Now, moving on to the rose, we have the ring, ship, and clover. This is wonderful for a new relationship. Very clearly in store, with the ship suggesting setting sail in a new direction. So obviously, this is very clearly answering the query, the idea that you will set sail into a new relationship. I like this line because it clarifies what this tree is about more than other lines, I feel. The fox, tree, and bear has to do with you know, being a bit careful with how the relationship develops. The fox can be half-hearted in relationships. I don't feel this is very much the case, at least not as it evolves. But the idea of the fox in this context is that you want to make sure that the relationship aligns with you. You want to make sure that this is the right thing for you. So in a way, it's about really watching how the other person is, watching how the relationship evolves. But I do feel that if you take your time in the right way, the tree and bear suggest that this can grow into something really important. The bear in relationships usually suggests that it's an important relationship. So this can be an important new relationship that you move into next, Opalite Group. And you know, the ring on the top of your portrait is also very telling in this regard, because the ring is a card of serious relationships, and so I feel it works well with the bear. The house, whip, and mountain, I think this is a challenging combination. I think it has to do with the idea of blockages. I also think it has to do with breaking out of your shell. So I feel that the house has to do here with the idea of being maybe closed off and too just being inside yourself, being with yourself, not being outward with people, not being out there with someone. And so I feel this needs to be broken through if you want to attract this wonderful relationship. So I think this is a really supportive line to break out of your shell, to sort of get out there. And if there is something deeper than that, then you might want to also deal with it. And this is where I feel the tree can come in. It points to this idea of going within, of tapping into your wisdom, understanding yourself better. And if you have blockages, then removing them is certainly going to help with attracting a new relationship. Let's move on to the columns. We have the ring, fox, and house. So the ring and fox is usually tricky in relationships because the fox is a tricky character. And so this may be a bit of a time when you're not so sure if the other person reciprocates, or perhaps you're not fully convinced that this is the right thing. And with the house, it can actually point to someone whom you already know. It can be a colleague or someone at work or someone in another group that you're part of. It's possible that you meet this person in this context. But again, the fox is careful, so I want to advise you to go about this relationship carefully. And I also want to add that you want to prioritize your own self-interest. So make sure that this relationship really aligns with your goals and what you're about. The ship, tree, and whip is an interesting combination. I feel I get the most insight from it by T-crossing it with the bottom line. I feel that the whip plays a similar role in both lines. So the ship and tree is really about breaking out of your comfort zone. And I think it aligns well with what we saw in the bottom line. So the tree is that idea of comfort, you're like sitting back, it's peaceful. And with the whip here and the ship at the top, I feel that you might want to, change your mindset a little bit, like shake yourself out from this quiet environment that you're living in, or, this mental atmosphere that is so calm and really drawn within. And it might be time to sort of shake yourself out of this and step out into the world to attract that relationship. So if you're ready to do this, then definitely a relationship is lined up for you. And we see the clover, bear, and mountain here is really positive for a major step forward. It's interesting that the bear and mountain can point to someone who's based abroad, but obviously because this is a love reading, it might not apply at all. But it's possible that maybe there's someone who's abroad and, this is the person you have a connection with. I feel the more likely interpretation, the more relevant interpretation is this important big step forward. So I feel that you can get really lucky with a serious relationship, not just any relationship, but something of a big deal. And it can it can prove to be really good and really lucky. So it can be, the next relationship for you can be this relationship worthy of commitment. So that's why maybe the fox comes in to tell you to, sense check that and make sure it's aligned with what you want. And also this reading probably applies to those of you who are looking for something more serious. And if that's what you're after, this is in your cards. It is possible for you. I just want to say that you might want to break out a little bit of your comfort zone, try to see things a little bit differently, and get out of your shell, to be with this other person, to discover them. So let me know how you like these ideas, Opalite Group. I'm really looking forward to your thoughts. Until we meet again, I want to say thank you so much for watching and take very good care of yourself. All right, Carnelian Group, here we are with your cards and your beautiful stone. And for your reading, I want to run a portrait. I have my deck here. It is shuffled as always, and we're good to just deal it out. Remember that we're looking at love, a new relationship, or any guidance you would like in this area. Let's go ahead and deal out this portrait. Okay, interesting set of cards. I am seeing very good potential for love. I mean, really, the moon, clover, and star, and then the heart at the top here. These 4 cards are beautiful cards. These 2 are wish fulfillment cards, and they can overturn any challenges. And then the heart and moon are really soft and gentle, and they're really, really good for love. I'm wondering about the snake, how it figures in this reading. I think it's going to depend on the different lines. And then we have the woman here. So she can be someone who, you have a relationship with, or she could be someone who helps with that. Maybe she introduces you to someone. Let's weave the lines together and put this portrait into one story. We have the Rider, Moon, and Bear. So this is a clear combination of a proposal and invitation. The Rider is a messenger, the Moon is about an invitation and honors and a proposal, and the Bear is about anything important. So when we have the Rider and Moon together, we are looking at an invitation or a proposal. Not only that, but we also have the Moon and Letter with the woman here. So the woman could help you find someone, like she could introduce you to someone. She could be the one who invites you out, probably. And so we have two combinations that point to the idea of an invitation or a proposal. So that seems to be a pretty clear clue about how you're going to get into your next relationship. And that is really helpful. We have the Star, Moon, and Snake. This is curious because the Star is an all-around wish fulfillment card, but the Snake can suggest that you might want to consider this invitation or this proposal, and we see it as well with the Letter. So notice that there's, there is recurrence in how the cards are structured, the lines are structured to give similar indications. We have the Snake and Letter, the Snake and Moon, we have the Rider and Moon, and the Letter and Moon. So it's interesting how we have recurrent cards here, recurrent meanings. So the Snake can be a bit tricky, right? Because it tells us that you might want to consider this invitation. Maybe it is not the right thing for you, although honestly, I see a beautiful line here at the bottom that points to really positive prospects. We've got the Star and Clover together, and then with the Bear. So this means a really important opportunity. It can be a really lucky turn of events, and you might get the wish that you're after. So it can be really, really positive for love. So the thing about the Snake in this context is that it can mean that you need to take it slow. It's also possible that there is a third party in the picture. And it's not just the Snake, but it's also the woman. The Snake is usually associated with another woman. That's like in the classical, traditional Lenormand. And so in love, it can point to competition in love. So I feel that because of the Snake here and the woman here, that is a possible thing going on for you in your prospective relationship. So maybe you are that third party. Maybe there is a third party, and it's about how you go about getting that person into a relationship, or how the relationship falls into place. There could be a bit of a roundabout way here to get to the end positive outcome. Let's move on to the Rose. We have the Rider, Heart, and Snake. So this is tricky in relationships because the Heart and Snake can point to a disappointment, and the Heart and Rider can be this, this new goal in love, this new direction in love. But with the Snake, it's a bit tricky. It can also feed back into what we just said earlier, that you're going about this in a more cautious way. And I would also say guard yourself a little bit. So get to know the other person, feel it out, make sure it is the right one for you as you go about discovering, if this relationship is good for you. You don't have to reveal all your intentions at first, and probably because of the Heart being before the Snake and with the Rider, you might want to keep your intentions to yourself. So don't tell the other person you love them, or you're attracted to them, or you don't express your interest just from the get-go. And it's possible that they don't do that towards you either. We read the Woman, Moon, and Letter, and we read the Star, Clover, and Bear. Let's move on to the columns. We have the Rider, Woman, and Star, and we did also touch on this line, suggesting that she might be the one who enables you to move into a new relationship. She could introduce you. She could be the one, who expresses interest. The Star, in all cases, is really supportive, and I feel this is someone who is supportive. So the person who introduces you has good intentions. I feel this is the case. The Heart, Moon, and Clover is an all-around wish fulfillment combination. Obviously, this is about landing on both feet with love, with relationships. The Heart is not always about relationships. It's really the ring that is more binding in this way. But because the context is about love, really the Heart is really well aligned. And of course, these are beautiful wish fulfillment cards. The Snake, Letter, and Bear is a combination of secrecy. So the Snake is silent, and with the Letter, this can be news or information that you find out about. And with the bear, it can be some really important information. And I think it turns out to be really advantageous for you because we've got all of these other positive cards in your portrait. So what is possible for you is that you discover something about the other person. You might discover that they like you. You might discover that they're more interested in you than the other person. And you might discover that they actually, you know, they want to approach you, but they haven't. You know, you can discover a number of things in this relationship, and you'll find that it probably puts you at an advantage. And it's also important news. So it probably informs your move or, you know, your intentions for the relationship. And so stay tuned for that. But also handle with discretion. So there's no need to share the news. You keep it under your hat, and I think it gives you the advantage. So overall, Carnelian Group, this is a beautiful portrait that is very promising for a new love, a new relationship. It seems to come through an introduction, through another person. There's also an invitation or some kind of proposal. See if you like it. In all probability, you're going to take it up. And also, you're going to come across some important information about this relationship or its potential. You know, manage this discreetly. You don't need to share it. Take advantage of it probably, and you could find that you land on the relationship of your dreams. I mean, the star is an all-around dream card, you know, the hopes and the big hopes and things like that. So let me know how you like these ideas, Carnelian. I'm really looking forward to your thoughts. Very best of luck with this wonderful new relationship. And until we meet again, thank you so much for watching, and take very good care of yourself.